planning to be there for a permanent facility.
Okay,
If I was,
I want to interrupt, because that's what we were told to do last time, just so you know. We were told the same exact,
I think you can see you've seen it.
I have seen it.
It's pretty small.
I understand that.
If I was going to be doing a commercial operation, which we're not commercial at all, we don't do commercial stuff, I might look at all, I mean, I can put a hydrogen plant anywhere. I could put it, I could hook it up to the grid.
Exactly.
I could hook it up to a wind turbines.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And so our problem is that you're coming to a residential area that already has we have a problem with PGV. All of us here in this room right now, aside from you guys, have a problem with the existing, and so far, existing PGV plant. And the biggest problem is where they sited it. They put it right in the middle of our neighborhood, and it has impacts. And so your project it increases it, whether you want to, you don't want to see that, but they're going to run those turbines, so there's going to be more noise. They're going to be, I don't buy that they're not going to want to build a bigger hydrogen plant there and then ammonia manufacturing.
Yeah. What's PGV getting out of it if they're doing all this for you, giving you all this free stuff?
Well, they're getting obviously the experience and the data. What they do with it, I don't know.
Experience
Yeah.
producing electricity.
Hydrogen.
They're getting the value of understanding what it takes to produce hydrogen, all
Yeah.
the codes
So
and standards and safety stuff.
So
associated with
it's
it.
a step in the direction of producing hydrogen at PGV.
I can't talk to PGV. I mean, that's for them
Well,
to
but
decide.
you can
see it from our
But it can
point
be
of view.
used, absolutely. But I can, anybody can use this data. There's other organizations too that want to get into the hydrogen production. I don't want to call it anything but business.
But if you produce it so since you can produce it anywhere, why wouldn't you produce it where you're going to use it rather than shipping the hydrogen all that way? Because it is flammable and explosive,
Yeah, sure.
right?
I go back to what I said, is the cost for our project of doing it would make it totally, we couldn't afford to do the project. I have a very difficult time, corralling all the necessary funding to do just what we've done here. I mean, this is over $5.5 million. If you look at the value of the PGV contribution in electricity, it's about $750,000 worth of electricity. So I'm not getting any value, the project's not getting any value by paying Volca, $750,000 so that we can run an electrolyzer over time and see how it degrades over time when you're running it and ramping it up and down, so that we can understand how it degrades over time.
I think this is a terrible precedent because it's moving from producing electricity in one spot, a geothermal, in our backyard, right? Right now it's supporting the grid. And then the next step is now we start producing hydrogen there where it can be shipped. So we're going to have trucks going up and down that little road. And so it's just another industry coming into our neighborhood.
Well, our EA is focused on the research part of it and not looking
No,
at
but
this.
you can't ignore this because PGV's giving you whatever, $750,000. They're not doing that out of the goodness of their hearts, trust me. I've dealt with PGV since the first day they came to this island. And, they expect to get a return on that money. That's how they function. That's their in business, and it's about money. It's bottom line business. So, you may only want to see that part of it, but we have to live there with the end result of what's created out of all of this. So, that has to be part of this EA. You have to understand that the impacts to this community of what, beyond what the research is, what PGV wants out of this and how that's going to impact us. You can try and ignore that all you want, but that's not fair and it's not Pono, because it's not what's going on.
What other renewable energy producers have you spoken to? What other renewable energy producers have you spoken to on the island?
I've spoken to many of them, people at South Point.
Yeah.
I've spoken to Parker Ranch. I've talked to, not Javi specifically about hydrogen, but
Yeah.
those are two players that do produce a lot of electricity.
Right.
And
It's intermittent too.
it's intermittent. Hobby, I mean, South Point is an interesting one because they do have to curtail quite a lot of their
Right.
electricity at
Yeah.
night. So it is actually a good site to look for, to look at producing hydrogen.
We would not oppose you going down there and doing it there.
Well, good, thank you for
What?
that.
No, we would, in
Yeah.
fact, we'd support it, I think, wouldn't we?
Well, I have to talk to the people that live out there, to be honest, because, you know, you have to, they may support doing it with geothermal, so I'm not gonna just blindly say.
Yeah, I understand, Bob,
But-
yeah.
But one of the reasons to locate it here is that we are supporting 3 fuel cell buses, 2 at Volcanoes National Park,
Right.
and 1 in Hilo, which actually is going to designate it to support the Puna community by providing.
Have you figured out how many
got some
gallons of,
questions.
let me ask you, how many gallons of gas are you gonna use to move the hydrogen?
Well,
The-
this is not a commercial venture. I'm not in a profit-making mode. We're here to evaluate the electrolyzer. We're here to evaluate the buses, see how well they work, get community reaction to the buses and to the whole experiment. And in the end of the day, I'm actually fairly confident that once the prices of the buses come down, because they're not commercial yet either. I mean, they're
Right.
$500,000 each.
Right.
But once we get volume production in the industry, those buses will be competitive to diesel buses, the actual purchase of the bus, and they'll be very competitive because a fuel cell using the hydrogen gets twice the range of a diesel bus. And then you don't get the noise. And you
Twice
don't-
the range per gallon, I'm sorry, is that per gallon?
Yeah, per gallon
Yeah.
equivalent. And the only emission from it is pure water.
How does that come
Wait,
about
wait,
now? We
wait,
got an
Bob,
equivalent,
Bob,
wait,
please,
we got
I
an-
wanna say something here. I called this meeting and you guys keep going and I have some stuff I wanna ask you. The solar, you're doing it with solar in Kona, right? I thought I read somewhere you have another research project with the solar.
No, we don't have anything going on in Kona. At one point, we were looking at doing something at Kona, but the problem was that we didn't have a bus to use the hydrogen. So,
Okay, because I would really support the solar
So-
thing and I wanna talk to you about the
Yeah.
economics of that.
well,
And
economically,
also-
solar does not make sense.
Well,
Because
Why is that?
Well, the cost of solar with, tax credits and all that is still pretty high.
well,
And if they
Well, you-
take away the tax credits, as you've been following the news, at least the state is looking at decreasing the tax credits. It gets to be pretty expensive
well, we all
electricity.
live on solar and so I can tell you right now, it's probably half what what the grid power costs me.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
on solar for a
Sure.
long time.
It should be more than half.
Yeah, and, okay, so panels right now, I don't know if you've been pricing panels, but I price panels all the time. I bought some recently for $1.50 a watt, but I just found them online for 91
Wow.
cents a watt.
It's incredible.
Okay, but wait now, and I have a website, and I do solar research, and you can look up all the research that I'm gonna talk to you about right now. It's on there, 69 or 80-something links on there to different solar projects and solar panels and research on solar. They're projected within the next 5 years to reduce up between 80 and 90% in cost. The solar panels are gonna drop another 80 or 90.
Wow, that's
And
incredible.
they've dropped 85% since I first bought my
Yeah.
first one. So, I mean, we're gonna invest all this thing and we're gonna get this thing going towards geothermal, when really solar is the future. Geothermal is not gonna get cheaper. Geothermal is gonna get more expensive. They have to import, they have to ship, chemicals, drilling, all of those things. There's no way those costs are coming down.
And the resources being depleted.
Well, and that too, we talk about renewable, they have to keep drilling. And if it's a renewable resource, why do they have to keep drilling wells all the time? I mean, that's a debatable issue, whether it's renewable or not, so.
Well, my project will help you with your solar and with your wind in that using the electrolyzer as a controllable variable load, part of the theory, and that's part of what we want to test
I
out,
understand exactly what
is
you're
whether
saying.
or not that can be a controllable load to take out the,
Exactly, but it
the
doesn't have
changes.
to be, and it's a mistake for you and a problem for us to put it in a residential community. Put it in an industrial park. That's where it belongs. That's the fight that we have with you. And because I support hydrogen 100%. I support Pacific Biodiesel. I've been burning biodiesel since I was their oldest customer. You can go and talk to.
We plan to use biodiesel in our
Okay,
truck.
and I use it all the time. My truck out there right now has biodiesel, all my equipment, and I even make my own biodiesel. But, and use that as an example to show you that we're not just against everything, and we're not really against hydrogen, but you're putting us in a position of having to fight with you because you're gonna put it in our neighborhood, you're gonna put it in a residential area as opposed to putting it in an industrial area where it should be. I just wanna get, I guess I've said it to you, you've heard me, and I don't wanna fight with you. I'd love to get on board with you on this, but I can't, I don't think I can support this in PGV. And you may not think that we can, you know, get in your way and that you're not gonna have to do an environmental impact statement, but we're gonna do everything we can if you're gonna go to PGV to force an environmental impact statement, because I think you have to do that if you're gonna come and do residential. I'm done.
Does PGV, if you build it off-site, say 200 yards off PVGs, what additional permits would you need?
It's where am I gonna get the electricity from?
Assume PGV's providing the electricity.
Yeah, no, but they have to get it to me.
Okay.
And what I don't know is what the laws are from the point of view of how they're gonna transmit it to me. You know, if it goes on as soon as it goes on the grid, then I have to pay Helco electricity charges. That's part of the law.
Well, yeah, but is PGV an authorized electrical provider?
I don't know.
I'm just curious as how PGV, whose job it is to generate electricity for Helco, is all of a sudden providing electricity for projects.
Well, they're providing it for one project, and it's a research project only. Mike Killikini is planning to attend the meeting tonight, so
Okay,
you can ask him that question because I don't know that.
Okay, the next question I have is this. Why is it that PGV has excess power to give?
Well,
We
once
are
again,
told by the geothermal working group, that PGV provides base power because solar cannot operate at night. So geothermal, the theory of geothermal is to provide base power. But when I read through this is so that PGV can provide power at night and prevent thermal cycles on their plant. I'm befuddled. You know, are we being lied to again?
You can ask Michael Killikini about that. All I'm doing is accepting power from him.
But you're really doing a little more than that, because you're enabling what's gonna happen to us. And I mean, I can't emphasize that enough, because I've had the same problem with the state for all these years, and so many things have happened to us because of research and because of, you know, I mean, I look at what's happened in Honolulu, and I look at what's happening here, and I say, you know, you guys could probably learn a lot from us. You know, look at where, like the community where you're going, we're off-grid. We don't have a grid. We have been for 10 years, totally sustainable on our own, produce all our own power. We farm, we do all of the things that everybody says. In Honolulu, you guys produce an unsustainable model in Honolulu. You can't provide your own power, you can't provide your own food, you poisoned your water, you know, and now you're coming here and telling us, oh, we have these great plans and we can help you and we can do these, we want to do this research and all that. And we're saying, hey, wait a minute, we have what you want already. Why don't you come and talk to us, really talk to us about it, instead of making this plan, spending all this money, and now you just have this meeting as a formality to what you already are going to do this no matter what we say. I mean, that is a wrong way to approach it. And that's the way it's always been approached here, and that's why you have this problem with us. So.
I understand the position.
You know, these people wouldn't be here, we wouldn't be here, if it wasn't that Ormat is such a horrible neighbor. If Congress is 15, Ormat's minus thousands. And they've done nothing to prevent this from happening. They're a public relations disaster. If they were run by a Japanese, he would have already committed Harry Terry. And this is why these people are here. This is your problem. If Ormat was a good neighbor, we wouldn't even be here. You could walk in there and do what you want to do. But this has been going on for how many years, Bob?
1981, they started the HGPA power plant.
And they've done nothing to improve.
We can't
And
get
that-
money for a friggin' health study, and they're giving $750,000 gratis for research. I
And
mean,
the
come on.
monitors, the monitoring program doesn't work. I mean, we smell it in the community, we're being exposed, the monitors are reading 0. And they're touting what a wonderful, great monitoring system that they have. And he's right, they're gonna give you $750,000, and after 20 years, they have a deficient, defunct monitoring system that has never worked and still doesn't work. And, you know, I mean, we take offense at that because that's our health and our families that are being put at risk because of those kind of things. The noise, there's a noise issue going on right now where they drill and they keep everybody up at night. And we have, so I was in a meeting with DLNR, and Tom was there, and Paul was there, and D-Bed. And, you know, the PGV comes on and they say, oh, there's all kind of things we could do. We could make it as quiet as being next to a hospital. But for 20 years, they haven't done that. And the only reason they're going to do that now, because they're being threatened with being shut down, not being able to drill. So we've had to stay up. Our kids have had to stay up and not be able to go to school, you know, because you got to sleep to be able to study, drive to work, and all those things for 20 years. So PGV can make money because they don't want to balance their generators and they don't want to put in and so, you know, I mean, it's great. They're going to give you $750,000. What are they going to do for us? Besides build a huge hydrogen plant and then ammonia manufacturing.
What's his standoff distance and how much hydrogen are you storing?
Basically, I'm storing probably a maximum of about 100 to 200 kilograms of hydrogen on site, which is equivalent to 200 gallons of gasoline. And they would be stored in tube trailers, which we will fill as they are empty. And deliver
What's the
those to-
standoff distance for 200 kilograms of hydrogen at the pressure that you're going to store?
Blast radius. What's the blast radius?
The standoff distance is 17 feet.
You mean I can stand 17 feet and ignite that? I don't believe you. Less hydrogen than that blew up the USS Scorpion. Give me a break.
What
Well-
did you think standoff distance was?
I mean, how far can I be away if I ignite that and be safe?
It depends on, you could actually stand right beside a hydrogen fire.
I'm talking about an explosion.
Well, these are outside, out in the open air, so
Are these going to be contained in tanks?
they're contained in tanks, but they don't explode.
Unless there's a leak. After
If there's a leak, it goes up at 45 miles per hour, straight up.
So
65
I
feet per
can
second.
write here that there is no danger of explosion from producing hydrogen.
Correct.
I mean, I've observed probably 15 explosions of oxygen generators on submarines.
Well, I've been on
and if-
submarines myself.
Well,
I know
then
how
how can you sit there and tell me that
That's
there's
an
no danger
oxygen
of
generator,
explosion?
and if you expose an
Electrolysis?
You may have been on a different submarine than I was on. Mine were the candles that we burned.
No, I'm talking about the electrolytic oxygen generators.
Well,
They're
that's
called the bomb.
Mitch,
On
think that's
submarines,
We
they're
gotta
typically
get ready
called
for our
bombs.
That's in a
presentation.
confined space. I spent 15 years on submarines, so I'm pretty.
Again, the question, how far away do I have to be safe? That's all I'm asking you.
If you're in a confined space,
No, I'm standing outdoors. How far do I have to be, far away do I have to be safe? If that hydrogen goes off, the maximum amount you
Goodness sakes
store.
alive, look at that.
Have you considered it, or, I mean, it's just a simple question.
well, the codes and standards take that into account.
What are the codes and standards for your standoff distance from non-occupational workers?
NFPA 2, if you look at that is
That it could
the
use,
overarching codes and standards that are under development now, that we are using.
what is it?
NFPA 2,
And what stands for what?
National Fire Prevention Association.
I got one question for you. Where's the site? Where's the-
We're gonna start the presentation now.
Where's it gonna be located?
He's gotta get ready to start the presentation.
No, no, it's gonna be at the entrance,
By the fish farm?
yeah,
By the fish farm?
Good to see you
closer
on
to
time,
the
Rob.
control, just past their, opposite their security. And I have a photograph.
Okay. Thank you for taking the
Yeah,
time.
what's that reason?
Taking the heat.
Several certification Los Angeles.
Hey, how you doing?
City.
They're not really building anything,
Yeah.
they're hauling some stuff in.
Nice to meet you, other submarine seals. So they're gonna be able to.
Hi. Yeah, same old crew. Good to see you again.
They better call next week.
I will. You know, I've been doing a, Suzanne's in England.
Oh.
We've been doing a solar install and I had a D9 on the property, so I was
Oh,
running around
whoa.
like crazy. Yeah. So I will. I'll call her. Just cleaning up some stuff that we made a mess of last time. So
Wow.
yeah, just little stuff, but you know, just
Little
needs-
stuff with D9.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah.
that possible?
Relatively little. This guy's pretty good. He's probably the best on the island. No, his name's Jacob, the son of John's land clearing.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I like him.
This thing's incredible.
Amazing,
You
amazing.
know, when they were building this out,
Two good things they make.
you know, it's hard to imagine these things.
You know, I saw one of those, and it's like amazing.
They're just so big. Wait, Dad wants to give you guys some sweet potato cookies.
Oh shoot. Okay, well I will call her for sure next week. Tell her for sure.
Okay.
That'd be
Or if you
really
want to
good.
wait till your wife's back, that's.
No, that's all right. I'm planning on being caught up next week.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, I have been ever since I got here.
You okay?
I'm good. Yeah, exactly. I'll never be caught up.
That's like people say to me, are you through building your house?
Yeah, exactly. I've been reading the manuals on the Outback because the guy that installed it, they didn't have anybody who could program it. So they just hook it up and they say the defaults will be fine and drive away. Yeah, and so I spent the last 2 days